here from 168 Fitness. Over the past couple of weeks, I've been talking about achieving your summer fitness and weight loss goals. And last week I was talking about fitness goals in particular and what you need to do to achieve those. So this week I thought, let's talk about weight loss goals. Now, I don't always encourage people to focus on their weight because it's kind of irrelevant in some ways. But a lot of people come to me saying they want to lose weight, and I've got clients that are focused on their weight loss goals, and that's absolutely fine as well. But what I would encourage you to do is to have other goals as well, because weight isn't everything. Someone can be heavier but healthier, and heavier and fitter. And also, you'll probably know this by now, but if you have quite a high lean muscle mass, then that's muscle weighs more than fat, so you are going to naturally be heavier if you are leaner as well. So there's a few things to think about, that it's not as simple as if you're on the scales and you weigh more, then you must be unhealthy or unfit, or you must be fat or anything like that. It's none of those things. So that's why I just try and get people to focus a little bit more about other goals, and have the weight sort of goals and thinking about that on the side as well, so we can still be focused on that. So that's what I'm going to get you to think about though this week. If your goal is weight loss, if it's not weight loss, absolutely doesn't matter. You don't need to be focused on that at all. But you might find that watching the video there are still some things you want to think about as well, because we all should really be sort of maintaining our weight. If we're not losing weight, if we're not trying to put on weight, we're probably trying to maintain our weight sort of every day. And that's really hard to do, actually, maintaining the weight. Most of us will probably find ourselves in the yo-yo of up and down with our weight, and sort of sometimes we eat more than others, and so then our weight goes up slightly, and so then we have to sort of rein it in a little bit and try and eat a little bit less and be a bit more conscious, and so we lose the weight that we put on and just equaling it out and things like that. But we'll naturally do that perhaps, and often you find that if you've eaten bigger meals or had a weekend away where you've eaten more or been on holiday, that you don't want to eat that. You can't sustain that. You don't want to keep eating lots of food and consuming lots of calories and things that actually naturally you're not as hungry, and you want to be more active and things like that. So you just naturally maintaining it yourself. But if your goal is weight loss, then the things that you need to do, the key thing, it really comes down to that simple equation of energy in being less than energy out. So that means the food and drinks that you're consuming is, in terms of calories, is less than the energy that you're expending via exercise or activity, or just day-to-day what you're burning, because your body burns energy at rest, even when you just sat watching this video, or you're sleeping, or you just sat on the sofa watching TV. Yes, you do still burn calories during that time, just not as much as you would if you were out walking or running or something like that. So yes, it all comes down to that simple sort of balance, or tipping the scales one way or the other. If you're wanting to lose weight, as I said, you need to be burning more than you're consuming in terms of calories. So what you need to do in order to achieve the weight loss goal, obviously you've got to get that equation right. You've got to get that the scales right as such. So you need to be burning more, so we need to be doing some more exercise. We want to be moving more. We need to be just more aware of how much we're burning, or what we need to burn as well each day, in order to balance it out, or to tip the scales the other way. Then yes, we need to be thinking about what we're consuming. So it's two parts to that. Now, most of us know sort of that we need to be moving more and perhaps eating less. Most of us do know that. We don't necessarily do it, but we do usually know it. But some tools that I've used before, I recommend to clients to use as well. There's this free app called MyFitnessPal, which, if you haven't tried it already, it's a really good tool. It's free, it's an app, you can just download it, and then it's just basically like a food diary. You're logging your food intake as well as your exercise sort of output as well, and activity, and it will sort of work out. When you first sign up to it, you put in what you currently weigh, and then what you want to weigh if weight loss is your goal. It will ask you if that is your goal, what your goal is, and then it works out a sustainable amount of sort of weight loss over a certain period of time. And you then enter in day to day, you enter in all your food intake and your exercise that you do, and you have calorie goals each day to work towards and things like that. Anyway, download it because it's easy to sort of get into once you look at the app. But what I like about that is that it is sustainable, it is sensible as well, it's not crash dieting. Sometimes the numbers are quite restricted. You might go on there and you might put it in and it might say that you've only got 1,200 calories or 1,500 calories to eat each day. But what you can do, it will allow you, if you exercise, go out for a walk and you burn, 300 calories, it gives you those 300 calories that you can then eat those 300 calories. So it's not expecting you to do loads of exercise and eat very little and then do that every day and sustain that, because it's not sustainable to do that. It's great, you'll probably achieve your goals quicker, but you won't necessarily maintain the results once you get there. You might do, but it's going to be harder because you're going to feel like quite deprived, and you probably won't even get to the goals in the first place because you're going to feel like you're a bit drained, a bit run down, not necessarily eating enough for what your body needs to sustain the exercise and things like that. So what it's really just a sensible tool for doing it. And what it does really overall is getting you to just be more aware of what you're putting in your body. Now, you can achieve that by writing down your food consumption and drinks as well, just on a daily basis. Just write them down on paper. You don't even need to know the calories that are in the foods and drinks. It's good to have that information perhaps in your head, just roughly knowing how many calories something has, a snack that you have or a meal or something, just roughly, just so you know whether it's a lot or not very much. But you don't have to know those numbers. You just need to be just aware of what you're consuming. Now, most of us will know what to eat, what's better for us, what's not so good for us. And if you don't, that's fine. There's lots of information out there that can help you. But most of us know sort of healthy foods to eat and what's better for our body, sort of healthy, natural, nutritious foods. And they're the ones to try and stick to mostly, and by writing down what you're consuming, and imagine that you've got to send that to someone or show that to someone and explain, why did you have the, full Easter egg for breakfast, or why did you, eat a whole bag of crisps just after your dinner. Things like that. Like, if you can't explain it, if you wouldn't recommend it to someone else, if you kind of would be a little bit ashamed to show someone your food diary, then perhaps you know that it's not ideal to be eating those foods, and you need to do something about that. So it's just getting you to be more aware of what you're consuming, what you're putting in your body. And obviously, if you do this food diary and you're still struggling, you're stuck for where you're going wrong and things like that, that's where I can come in and just sort of have a look at what you're doing and where you might be able to make some improvements and then achieve your goals from there on in. So I'm happy to do that if you want to send me any information. But yeah, just getting you more aware of what you're consuming, thinking about the calorie balance and energy balance, things like that. And then, as I said, exercise. And I was talking about exercise last week. The same sort of rules apply as I was saying last week, 2 to 3 times a week. We're going to need to be doing this for a sustained period of time. So 4 to 6 weeks would be great just as a starting point. And then if your goals are more sort of longer term goals in terms of weight loss, then you're going to need to be doing it for a longer term, just being consistent along the way as well. So weight loss is never easy, but I'm not saying that your goal has to be really restricted and you can't eat anything bad as such. It's about moderation. It's about sort of having a bit of what you fancy, but not going overboard, and smaller portions and just everything just working together. If you're going to have some Easter egg for breakfast, then make sure you burn it off. Do a walk afterwards or whatever. Go to the gym tonight. So yeah, it's just getting you to just be more aware. So if you've got any questions about that, there's loads of information I could give you, but I'm going to try and keep it as simple and not too short. But yeah, please do get in touch if there's any questions, and I'll be back next week with some more top tips.